What's up, guys? Welcome to All Purpose Builds. This is New Car Week. In today's episode, we're going to be touching base on a car that some of you know, some of you may not know. My name is Kervis, as you guys know, and let's get right into it. So, I want to give a backstory on this car. I owned this car back in 2014. This was my second car ever registered to me. I was the second owner to this car. It was all original when I got it. I was actually did the one that did some minor modifications. I think I just did suspension and wheels at that time, and exhaust and underbody suspension. So I did a couple things to it. It was my first car that I was able to enjoy, and I actually fell in love with this chassis after owning it. In 2017-18, I got rid of it due to priorities, and I was actually looking for the car ever since. And the crazy thing is that the car was like right around us the whole time, and I had a suspicion that I had seen it because I would always talk to Brother Lewis and say, "Hey, I think I just saw my old car." And we were looking for it actively. Like, he would help me and I would help me. Then we'll take a month or two off, and then we'll just keep going this vicious cycle. And finally, I want to say sometime last year or early this year, it actually got listed for sale. Now, the there was a lot wrong with the listing, so it was listed for a mileage that I knew for a fact it didn't have, but I had certain information to my advantage. I knew the Carfax behind the car, being that the whole trends. I was a second owner to this car. I did get into a minor collision with it, so I already knew the timestamps and everything for this car. We did all the digging, and finally we got the guy to meet with us. I had 6 people contact this guy in total to be able to buy it back, because I wanted it back, but somebody posted it for him, which made it very hard to get in contact with them. Finally, that night we went and picked it up, and actually, without further ado, let me pull off the car cover so you guys can see the car, and then we'll go more into it. So, as you guys guessed it, I bought another SI. This is this old girl right here. High mileage, but I had a high mileage. But she's great. 2000 Honda Civic Si. I am now the 8th owner, I think, of it this time around. I bought this car with 256,000 miles from the original owner back in 2014. They listed it with 100,000 miles, and okay. So we went and saw the car. I verified the VIN. I verified everything, like I mentioned, through Carfax, and I'm not happy with the modifications that have been made. We haven't done anything to this car. I think besides removing some canards that it has, and swapping it came on stock wheels and some cheap aftermarket wheels. These are actually Brother Lewis's wheels, but these are actually the same wheels that were on, the same style wheel that was on my blue car. So you guys, they may look familiar. Mine were just diamond powder coated diamond black with a matte black face. These are white with a polished lip. They're dirty. Other than that, I haven't done a single thing besides some maintenance things that I absolutely couldn't have put off, including, and I put the OEM SI lip I've been hoarding on this car. I had to do an oil pan. That was it. I haven't done anything else to this car. Oh, I swapped the seats from the original parts car onto this one. The original EM1, the blue EM1, onto this one, because that car only had 65,000 miles. And those seats, like, you could almost dip into these seats with 300,000 miles or 296 now. With the new seats, you just feel a little bit higher. The car is exactly as I left it, actually. The only thing that they added was this actual little trunk lip spoiler. I like it. And that was it. A lot of mods we'll go into as we go over the car. Car drives as you would expect a 290,000 mile car to drive. There's a lot of things wrong, but we'll take those things as we go. I have been ordering a bunch of parts for this car. This is, unfortunately, this is not going to get case swapped. Well, it's not unfortunate, but yeah, this is not getting case swapped for now. Big for now in that in that conversation. The car overall has good bones, but it does need a lot of work. To be honest, I just want to emphasize on one thing. This is the reason I knew it was my car. This is one of the reasons I knew it was my car. I never took care of that chip. The old owner never took care of that chip, and it's still there. So if you guys could see that, that was one of the ways I was able to identify this car. So the only thing that I added to this car so far is going to be, well, I removed the canards, which you guys can see. I touched base on that. They drilled into this bumper. I mean, this bumper has been beat since I owned the car. They didn't change it. It is the exact same bumper because I remember. The only thing I added was the faded lip, which I had it laying around. I didn't see a point in painting it just yet. The intentions with this car is, luckily, I have at this point sourced everything brand new that I could. So I have both OEM fenders still in box. I have an OEM front bumper. I have the OEM CTR headlights brand new in box. I have an OEM grill brand new in box. The only used part in the front end that it's getting would be the hood, which is fine. You can't buy them anymore, and it didn't make sense to really go about it any other way. So I found the cleanest one that I could. It's not black, but this car will need paint. To get into the other half of the front of the car, you hear that? That's rust. This hood is complete trash. It's always been one of the key factors I remember of this car. Other than that, they did leave the original engine and transmission, so it's all been matching. Other than this car only has two components that I'm aware of right now. Well, I'll say three. So that fender is aftermarket, and it has rust on the bottom right corner. The hood is aftermarket, and the front bumper, I hope, is not OEM, but nor do I really care because I have a OEM one. As far as the engine goes, motor and trans are VIN matching. They put on some headers, 1320 header that I don't like. And then they did hardware throughout the whole engine bay, which I have to redo. But that's perfectly fine because at 290,000 miles, this thing smokes like a chimney. I'm pretty sure if you stand behind it and I rev it, oil will get on you physically. This thing is crazy. Still runs great and it cracks VTEC great. But it's a B16. They're slow. Especially coming from the K-Series world to this, expectations aren't there. Maybe later on, after we rebuild this, we'll throw a different B-Series motor in it and still keep this motor. But everything is there as it should. It doesn't have AC anymore. I haven't diagnosed it. I haven't done anything. I checked it doesn't have Freon, so I'm sure some component in there failed. Aftermarket radiator. All the AC stuff is here, along with spider webs and a bunch of holes. They took off the CTR strut bar I had. So that CTR strut bar, I think you gave me, well, either way, I sourced it a while ago and I left it on the car because at that time they were worthless or worth very little. But yeah, 290,000 miles, smokes like a chimney, has check engine lights, leaks gas, leaks oil. Also, the rear brake lines rotted out. They did the aftermarket way, which is just two steel braided lines going all the way to the back. But instead of like tucking them and making them nice, they're just zip tied underneath the covers to the other lines. But luckily, I was able to source all new brake lines and fuel lines going from the front to the back. That's pretty much it for the engine bay. Our plans are to give this a full restoration. So as far as the engine bay, everything's coming off eventually. So this is definitely a build we're going to do over time. But everything's going to come off, get completely redone, and then reassembled in much better condition. And you guys will see our theme behind. There's another car that follows along. Well, that this car follows along with the guideline of that. We'll give a better understanding for the goals with this car, but this car is going to be very OEM. The most that I'll do to this car besides suspension and wheels is going to be some other B-Series long block, which That's up for question still, and it's a possibility. But this motor, I wouldn't even tear apart and separate. I would just keep it, rebuild it, and have it on a stand. So one day, if I really want to go back to completely OEM, I could just throw this in. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 2 of New Car Week. So we have 5-6 more videos to go. I hope you guys are enjoying this far, but please remember to subscribe, turn on the notifications, and stay tuned. Follow us on social media for more.